Hey guys, we have got a treat for you this week. A couple of weeks ago we bought a new Blackstone grill.
Love it.
Yes, absolutely love it. If you didn't watch the video, 1, shame on you. 2, go watch it now, then come back and watch this one. So what we're going to do here today is we want to build a little table to put our Blackstone grill on. And it's a pretty simple table, but I think it looks pretty cool. And we're going to show you how to do it. We thought it might be a good how-to lesson here.
Come on, guys. Hopefully nobody cuts off a finger.
Alright guys, basically what we're doing here is everything that we're going to need for this project is basically just 2 different kinds of wood. I'm just building it out of pressure treated wood, and I'm actually using grade number 2, so it's just cheaper, because these tables for us are just going to sit outside and it be in the weather, and you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy for us here at the house. But basically all we're using is 2x4s, and we're using 5/4 boards. A lot of people use these as deck boards. When you build a deck, this is the board they put on the top deck, and that's it. You'll see when we start putting it together here, the legs are made out of the 2x4s, and I'm going to build a 2x4 frame to mount the tabletop on, and it's actually going to have a shelf down below, and it actually even has a back on it. And I was going to use fern wood, you know, like little 1x2s for the back, and that way you can so you can hang some hooks and hang your spatulas and stuff on if you needed to. But the problem is there's been such a run on wood during all this shutdown. I guess everybody's bored that we couldn't find fern strips. So we had to come up with different ideas. So what I decided to do is I'm going to take these 5/4 boards, and we're actually going to cut them on a diagonal, make a little design for the back, and it actually come out cheaper than what the fern strips is going to be anyway. So I think it'll turn out pretty good, and hope you enjoy it. My table is going to be 6 foot and 6 foot wide, and it's about 28 inches deep. And the reason why I went with 28, I was originally going to go with 24 inches deep, but that would have meant splitting one of these 5/4 boards all the way down the side for the back, and I just really didn't want to waste that wood. I had to buy the piece anyways, and so I figured I'd just extend it a little bit. So my table is actually 28.5 inches deep, and that way I don't have to split any of these 5/4 boards. So I'm using 2 3/4 inch screws for where the 2x4s join together, and then I want to use 1 3/4 inch screws where the 5/4 board goes down on the 2x4 frame for the tabletops and for the shelf down below. We just went ahead and cut all of our 2x4s at once, and then that way we can just start assembling. So basically what we do, we take our shorter 2x4s, we're building a frame. We're going to build 2 of these exactly the same, and basically this is the front, this is the depth of the table, this is the width. And again, I'll put your cut sizes down there, because what happens when we end up putting our tabletop on here, it's going to have an inch overhang, so it looks real nice on the front and the sides. I did not do an overhang on the back because we're putting a back on it. And so then once you get all your cuts together, basically all you do is you'll take your support brackets here, and we're just screwing them all in. Again, it's not any complicated miter cuts here. We're just butting these 2x4s in here. Nice. So you'll see all it is, it's just butt joints here. So you got your 2x4 that's sandwiched in between 2 longer 2x4s. You'll have your front side of your 2x4s with your middle support, side. We build 2 of these exactly the same, and then we'll attach our legs to these. Alright guys, now here you can see we got our 2 frames built. This will be the bottom frame for the bottom shelf. This will be the top frame for the tabletop itself. They're exactly the same, so it doesn't matter. Here we've got our back legs cut and set here, and then we've got our front legs cut and set here. And I've got one other piece back here that'll actually be the middle support when we go do our diagonals on the back. The only other part you don't see here is there will be a top rail across the back shelf. Right now we've got about, with screws, all the lumber and everything, we're at about 115 bucks. I think that's a bargain for once you see this table, and it's super heavy duty. That's the reason why I did not go with 4x4 posts. 2 reasons: I didn't want to drive up the cost, but 2, we've already got 2x4s here. When we join this, it's basically going to be a 4x4 section here on the end with 2 2x4s anyways. And so I just felt like the 4x4 wasn't needed, and I think it'll be plenty sturdy enough. You can check it out at the end and you can be judge of that for yourself.
So we want to have a 6-inch toe kick underneath our table, and so we just came in on every board and measured 6 feet up and made a line, and then we'll come in and line that up with the bottom of our frame here.
Okay guys, sorry about that. My camera battery died right in the middle of us putting these legs on here. I went to go check and make sure everything was in frame and realized the camera was dead. So we have started putting our legs on here. As Kimberly did say before the camera did cut off, we marked 6 inches up because we wanted this bottom shelf to be 6 inches up off the ground. And then what we did was on this back leg here, we marked at
29 inches.
29 inches because the tabletop's going to be 29 inches, which is flush with your front leg here, which is 29 inches. When you look at the supply list, you'll see this front leg is 29 inches. Reason that being, that makes you a 30-inch tabletop because the wood we're putting for the tabletop is 1 inch thick, so that makes it 30 inches, which is a pretty standard tabletop.
And makes it perfect for the Blackstone.
Yeah, now, you know, obviously you can adjust those sizes if you want to, if you need to make it a little taller, a little shorter, whatever, but we found out that just works for us. So I'm going to put the last 2 screws in here, we'll flip this over, put the other 2 legs in on the other side, and then we'll stand it up. Alright guys, just like that, there's the outline of your table. And so like I say, we'll have a bottom shelf here, 6 inches off the ground, so you got, you know, you can get your foot up and under there so you can get cooking. Got your tabletop that we'll put on here. We'll put a sport bar across here. We'll put a sport bar down the middle, and you'll see why when we start doing the back on that. Next thing we'll do is we'll cut our tabletop and our shelf boards. We'll get all them screwed in, and then we'll start building the back part. Alright everybody, we're back at it out here this morning. It started getting a little bit dusky dark on us last night, and we was in the shade here, so it wasn't doing very good on the camera, so we decided to stop and pick back up this morning. So here we are, putting the top rail back on the back here. Again, it's exactly 6 foot because we matched it to our overhang for our tabletop here. And so we'll just get that screwed in. Okay guys, now what we're going to do is we've got our 12-foot 5/4 boards, and so we're going to mark 6 foot. That'll be for our top, our table top, and then we'll use the balance of that for the shelf below. Now the shelf below we have to cut off just a little bit because we're not doing a side overhang on the shelf below, just an overhang on the front. But we want to take 5 of these 5/4 boards, cut them at 6 foot. We'll get the top mounted down, then we'll measure for our bottom shelf end to end where our 2x4s are. Chop off just a few more inches there, and then we'll get that screwed down too.
It goes really fast.
As you can see, once you get all your pieces marked, cutting them, it goes really, really fast. Yeah. There's our 5 pieces for the top. We'll get our measurement for the bottom shelf, and we'll cut those off of the remaining pieces. Carry them all over here, and we'll get them all screwed in.
As you can see, when you put this back piece of your tabletop down, you can't get it to go flush with the back because these legs are in the way here. So we just need to measure and cut out a notch so that this will slide all the way back even to the back of the table. So I just make this where it'll be flush to this leg. I measure the depth of the leg, 3 3/4 inches. And so then I transfer that 3 3/4 inches to my board. Connect your lines. And that shows you exactly what needs to be cut out. We'll take that over to the jigsaw and we'll cut out those pieces, and then we can start laying down our top boards.
And then there's your notch for your tabletop, for the leg I mean. You see we got our board fit in here. For this part, for the top boards here, the 5/4 boards, we're using 1 3/4 inch screws. Work our way down. I put 2 in each board just to keep it from cupping. You know, you might could get away with less than that, just putting 1 in each one. But I'm always worried if you put 1 just in the middle, it could cause your wood to cut. And so screws ain't that expensive, so I just like to be safe than sorry. And then basically what we're doing for our spacing, guys, is we just take one of our 2 3/4 inch screws, put it in between the 2 boards. That way you have a little bit of a gap in here just so water can drain off. It also helps you, especially when you're, you know, I'm using number 2 grade lumber here, so it's not always perfectly straight. And so that way if you do have a little bit of a bow or anything in your board, that helps you accommodate for it by putting that little gap in there. I'm telling you guys, having an extra set of hands, somebody to help you, to me is just invaluable. I mean, you see how fast it goes. You can help line stuff up as I'm screwing stuff in, and it just makes things go super fast. I couldn't do it without it.
And I've got that on recording.
Just remember, guys, I did 2 3/4 inch nails here again. Anywhere it's 2x4 to 2x4, I use 2 3/4 inch. Anywhere 5/4 to 2x4 is 1 3/4 inch. The only exception is right here, and that's because I'm toenailing in. Got a 5/4 board I'm screwing into, but then I also have the bottom 2x4 plate here too.
And you'll see when we get finished, this is an integral part of the back that we're going to put on our table. It's a little bit decorative and a little bit to protect the house as well. So I hope you guys like it. I think it'll look really nice.
Yep. Alright, we're going to go grab the boards for the bottom shelf, and we install them exactly the same way as the top, so I won't bore you and show you that whole process. But just know, although they're done, instead of an overhang on the end, they're cut flush here, but we just still kept our inch overhang in the front.
And we will still have to cut out a notch on that back board. The only difference is this time the front board will have to be notched as well because of those front legs.
Correct.
But it's the same process as the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do a diagonal pattern of wood from this corner up to this corner. We want a 45-degree angle to make a point up here in this corner. So we're going to measure from here down to this side, and we'll make it 45-degree angles on this as well. So it gets a little bit tricky, but we'll put all the measurements down in the comments.
And so now you understand why we have the brace here, because what we're going to do is we're going to 45 all this wood, and then we're going to 45 back up this way. It makes a nice little pattern on the back, and so you kind of need this brace so that you can screw the two pieces of wood in here going all the way up.
And something that we think will be really beneficial is to draw a line down the middle of your back brace here so that you can make sure all of your pieces are lining up in the same spot. To do the back, since we've decided to do that chevron type pattern, we need to cut some 45-degree angles, and those are really scary and kind of tricky, but let us walk you through it. It's not as bad as it sounds. To do that, we use our speed square. It's our favorite tool. So you just need to find a 45-degree on your board, and as you can see, we did a 45-degree from the corner, which is going to make us lose this much wood when we cut that off. So what we did is we marked the center of our board and then carried that 45 all the way out to the center. So this corner is going to get cut off. We did the same thing on the other side. That will cut off this corner. That gives us a nice sharp 45-degree angle for a point to go up in the corner of our table. This board needs to be 51 inches long to go from corner to corner. So we measured from this point down 51 inches. We've put a tick mark here at our 51-inch mark and done a 45-degree angle this way so that it will line up with the center of our brace. Let's go see if it fits.
Okay, here's where I was talking about earlier. A miter saw really comes in handy. Obviously you can use this, do this with hand tools if you want to. They actually make a hand miter saw also. I just like the power because it's a whole lot faster. But what's nice is on your miter saw you have all these degrees marked on here. So we know we're doing 45s. So I can simply take this, move it, and it will lock in at 45. You can hear it lock in, so you know you're dead on the 45. Then we can bring our piece of wood over, get it on our 45-degree mark, and just chop it off.
Okay, you can see our board where we've created our 45-degree angle there, and it's going to line up here with the edge of our table. So that will go in right there, and then the other end will attach to our mid piece down here. Now that we've got our two first pieces in on our 45-degree angles, those are the two hardest to get. Once you get those in, everything else just works off of that with our spacers, just like below. Just cut a 45 on top, 45 on the bottom, and roll with it.
Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial video today on building our little Blackstone benches. Obviously they can be used for a lot more than that too. I mean,
for sure.
Well, we got them out back. I mean, you can use it for planting, if you're just planting some pots and needed a table to work on. We've actually going to have some tables set out here, so you could actually, even if you wouldn't use any Blackstone on it, you could use it as like a buffet style table outside too. Well,
and honestly, we're sitting on it right now, so you could even use it as seating if you needed to.
And so again, we built two of them. We put one out front and one out back. I'll show you a little clip of both of them. Hope you enjoyed it, and tune in next week. You'll never know what we're getting into here.
Yep, we'll catch you guys later.
All right, folks. Here you can see our completed table. You can see how we got the tabletop. You see we got the shelf down here already putting it to use. You can see the bag here. But the main reason why we're out here right now is we want to share another recipe with you. We are going to do our favorite Mexican restaurant right now. Still, the dining still isn't open. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called nachos rancheros. And basically what it is chicken, steak, and shrimp over nachos, over cheese nachos. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook it up like on some of our previous videos. We're going to throw all our meats on here. We're going to throw some onions, some green peppers, some mushrooms, get all that cooked up here, and then we'll take everything back inside and we'll do a bed of nachos and some white cheese over the top of it. Just get our chicken down there and get it going first, so it takes the longest to cook of anything. Good steak here we're going to throw in here too. Again, one thing I like about the Blackstone is you can just kind of cook everything together here. We got our chicken going, get our steak going. Obviously we'll throw our shrimp on the very last because it cooks super fast. Ooh wee, hope that looked good, guys. Getting a good sear on all that meat. And again, with the meat being in strips, it doesn't take any time to cook over a hot griddle here. Okay guys, I went ahead and pulled all that meat off, the steak and the chicken. Throw on some onions and peppers here. We'll get these sauteed up. I'll go ahead and pull these off them. And lastly, we'll throw on some shrimp and some mushrooms. Got the cheese getting good and hot inside. And then we'll take all that stuff out and we'll build it all together. Now you could easily go ahead and put everything all together on the grill if you decided to. We just decided to cook a few things separate tonight in case we got some other people over, that way in case they wanted to pick out a few things that makes it a little bit easier for them. While our onions and bell peppers are finished up, we're going to go ahead and throw our shrimp on here and get it going, our mushrooms. Oops.
So we have a bed of chips, and then we're just going to put out some of the chicken and the steak. And then we'll put a little bit of our shrimp and mushrooms. And some onions and peppers. And then top it off with a drizzle of white cheese sauce.